Obviously, Devin and Daniel come in with a lot of experience. What are you hoping that they're focusing on during fall camp to take advantage of this 2024 season?
Well, I can tell you exactly what those guys are focused on, and that's cleaning up all the details, right? Any ball mechanic pieces, anything with our tracks, anything with our eyes transitioning, anything second and third level, as we're getting through on runs, protection-wise, understanding our technique, any and everything that involves the position those guys are focused on. And that's where we got it right now. We're highly focused on the details of the position and mastering those skills. So those guys have done a really good job throughout camp of just challenging each other, challenging the room to be their very best in all those pieces. So.
We heard a lot of praise in the spring for Harry Stewart. How has he carried that into the fall so far?
Yeah, Harry, started out this fall camp. We threw a lot of offense at these guys, which was good. So he was, early on slow a little bit, playing a little bit slow. But as we have recalled some things now, going into this was the ninth practice. You start seeing playing a lot faster, which is pretty typical of young guys. You throw a lot at them early. They come out the gate a little bit slow. Thinking a little bit on runs or protections here and there. But as those guys are piecing it together, he's done a really good job so far. And I would even comment on Johnny as well. He's starting to turn the corner on some of those pieces too. So, as things slow down and we get some more recall on some pieces, those guys are starting to speed up a lot more, which is exciting.
Yeah, what have your points of emphasis been with Johnny?
Yeah, it's everything that the same points of emphasis that I have for him is the same that I have for Dev when it comes to playing the position. Obviously they're at different stages in their career. Johnny being on the front end of it and still understanding the offense, still trying to piece together the fundamentals of the position and put it all together. As he gets reps, it's really starting to piece together for him really well.
After the scrimmage, Lance said that you kind of taking it easy on Devin. You guys just limiting him a little bit.
Yeah. Devin's played a lot of football, right? And the way that we structure our scrimmages, there still was a lot of work that Dev got, in our thud periods, that we had and some one-on-one stuff with the backers. So a lot of good work that was still, there for Dev to be able to get, because we gotta find ways to get those guys the reps that they need too. So I really love the practice structure that we have set for, guys like him to still be able to get work in and not just be a day where he's just taking off. So.
What did you take away from the scrimmage for your group overall?
Yeah, I think some of the older guys are in rhythm. Obviously that being Dev and Deuce was really, really excited to be able to get a lot of work for Savion. Getting him back in the flow of things. He didn't really go a whole lot this spring, being nicked up here and there. And, he's done a really good job of managing himself and his body and his process when he walks in the building of taking care of his body the way that he needs to. And that's given him some opportunity to be able to take a lot of those reps with the ones. Younger guys, like I said earlier, those guys are right where I kind of expected them to be. Just in terms of where their level of understanding with the offense is. What we want to see out of those guys is them taking the next step of having that confidence and the competence, right, to be able to get in and take reps and execute at a high level. And being able to play fast. I think that's the biggest thing. Them taking advantage of the time that we have right now in fall camp and maximizing those opportunities and meetings and having Dev and Deuce teach those guys. I really do think that, as we continue to go along, it's going to continue to get better for each and every one of them.
Do you see any similarities, maybe not in playing style, but just in approach to the game between Devin and Harry?
Certainly, I do see some similarities there. And the thing about it for Harry, Harry is he's really starting to catch his second wind with everything. And I think that's what really makes it exciting for a guy like him. But the difference there is, Dev had to figure it out faster. There wasn't anybody ahead of him, necessarily that panned out, in the way that it probably should have. But for For Harry, there's some guys that are ahead of him, so the pressure isn't quite there, so to speak. So the process for him is just being able to learn as much as he can from Dev and Deuce and Savion, and he's really done that, and he's taken a good approach in that round.
What's it been like with the transition with Daryl coming in at O-line coach and Jeff being the new OC? What's that been like?
Yeah, Daryl's Daryl was with Coach Leipold, at Buffalo. They're on the front end, and I knew right away, and I could tell right away, when he got in the building, and just being able to mesh with him. Great person, first and foremost. He really cares about his players. He has a beautiful family. The time that we have gotten together, he's very knowledgeable in the game, very experienced, does a really good job of teaching and coaching his guys. So the continuity was there already. And then with Coach Grimes, obviously he was actually my old line coach when I was playing back in the day. And so that relationship was already established. We talked quite a bit even in the hiring process, and that relationship has just been carried over now. Just being in the room together, and it's been a really, really fun experience with Coach Grimes, and just being able to be side by side with him now has been a lot of fun. So
we've seen what Devin and Daniel can do, but with Savion, it's kind of been a small sample size so far. What do you think he can bring to you guys when he's healthy?
Yeah, I think what you saw really year two, when Savion got here, he's flashy, right? When he's out in the field, he's explosive. And I'm not going to get into specifics in terms of how we will utilize him, but he has a unique skill set to be utilized in a lot of different ways. And you saw probably bits and pieces of that towards the end of the year where we were able to get him in, especially against Kansas State on a few things. So he's going to be that guy that can be a change-up back for us. And one area that he's getting really good at is pass protection. As we've gone through fall camp and really seeing some growth in that aspect for himself, and it's going to help him be able to get in the game more. You got to. The way that we train our guys is to be all down backs. You got to be able to do everything, but there's still going to be roles that we seek out for each of these guys to be able to play them. And he's starting to turn the corner in a lot of those ways as he continues to stay healthy. How
do you find that balance when you have two top backs and one top back who demands so many carries because they're so talented, but also fitting in other people when possible?
Yeah, I mean that's our job as coaches, right? To find ways to spread the ball around and play to our strengths. There's probably things that Savion does a really good job at that maybe we don't have to put that on Dev or put that on Deuce. So being able to find ways to include him in the game plan process, is a lot of fun. And we've done that before. We're going to continue to do that and find ways to get those guys on the field at once.
Coach, how much does the having not only two veteran guys at the position, but having them with sort of complementary styles, what does that do for the productivity of the running back position in terms of
longevity,
game day contribution?
I mean, they're able to be fresh, so there's confidence as a coach to be able to throw either of those guys out there, and be able to take on those loads together, and they're even more dangerous when they're on the field together. But when you get to the latter end of those games, third and fourth quarter, both of those guys are they still got juice in the tank, per se, right? And that's what's really exciting about that, just having some veteran guys. But also too, I think that their relationship and the way that they handle playing together and being in the same room and challenging each other is one thing that I think stands out the most about them. They're complementary, not just in style of play, but also in their relationship with each other. They're selfless. There is no selfishness there. Now, they're both hungry and they're eager and they want to be the one either with the ball or just in the game blocking, right? And so that's something that's really fun to be able to see and be able to guide as a coach, or those two type of guys in the room. So.
Thank you.
Based off that, coach, right? When you have two guys like that, one is better than two is better than one. For the young guys to see that juice and that energy that they have, and be able to have that going into next year. They have two guys that they can really learn from quickly. Just from your perspective, is that big too to have two better than one, if you will?
Heck yeah. I mean, in short, for those young guys, they're also able to see, man, what it really takes to be a team, right? What it takes to be a unit. And when they push each other and they challenge each other, both physically and mentally within the room, they're able to achieve more. So having that type of, I guess you could say, unit where you're able to play multiple guys, that is their strength in numbers there. So I'm really, really excited, for this room, but also they understand the expectation that we have set for ourselves within the room of what we want to achieve and what we want to set out for this fall. But it's all in the details of what we do on a day-to-day.
More so to that, Coach, when you have two guys that are on the block of preseason the second year in a row. I mean, looking at the list, I believe Texas is the only other program with two backs on that list preseason. What does that say about the kind of backs that this program is really starting to develop?
Yeah, it's an elite backfield, and a lot of that has to do with how the young men have approached the game of football. How they live their lives off the field. And there's always room to get better. And that's on and off the field. Our process and what we do and how we do things, you hear that a lot from Coach Leipel. And that's on me as a coach to make sure that I hold those guys to that standard. Because that's what they want. That's what they tell us, right? And in the recruiting process, that's what we lay out for those guys. And so they come and embrace those pieces, but we also hold them to those standards and remind them, hey, this is what you said you wanted. It's exciting to be a part of, but again, it's and I've shared this with the running backs this fall camp pretty consistently. We will get out of this what we allow each other to do, right? So in other words, for us to be the best that we want to be, we got to push each other. We can't just hold back. We can't just say, oh, well, even for Dev, like he coming back and making that decision to be back. Well, it's not just about you. It's about it's about this team, right? And he understands that. And so the way that they approach it and the way that they attack it each and every day, it's exciting, refreshing to be around.
Coach, with the obvious, with being tackled, pass protection, catching passes out of the backfield, everything that's demanded of a running back, is there an argument to be made that it's the most physically demanding position in football?
Well, let's not take let's not take anything away from those guys in the trenches, right? I mean, it's every day. It's every rep for those guys, but it definitely requires a lot more. You have to have a unique skill set to be able to play the position, and I think even from the perspective of teaching it, there's a lot that goes into it, and so our guys understand that and they know that, and we push each other. And I said, man, you heard me right when I said that we push each other in the room. And even for Dev, he's constantly asking and trying to seek out every little bit of information that he possibly can to be the best version of himself. So earlier when I talked about, those guys are right in stride. I mean, that's what I want to see, and that is what we're seeing out of even guys that are in their 4th and 5th years of playing college football. They're still eager and hungry, right, to want to learn more. And so that's what really makes this career, man, so exciting as a coach, is having guys that want to do it each and every day.
Thank you.
Anything else for Coach Wallace?